Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the Leafs Convo podcast for Oak Ridge Ford in London, Ontario, Canada. OakRidgeFord.com. 0% financing is going on right now for 2019 Ford models. Be in touch with me inside the community section for more. I'm your host, Norman James, along with Mike Jello. It is Friday, October 25th, 2019. Welcome aboard. The Maple Leafs not having the best of weeks, but San Jose at Scotiabank Arena tonight. Michael, can the Leafs get back on the horse and back to their winning ways?
Good morning, Norman. Well, hopefully so. They've had a hard week and practice yesterday. Apparently very workmanlike and to the task because they realize that they're underperforming through the first month of the season, and I think there's a little bit of concern there. They do have the benefit for once of having a team that is playing in the second of back-to-back games, as they have 3 times this month. San Jose played and won in Montreal last night. So, the older bodies like Patrick Marleau and Joe Thornton may not be as energized as they normally would be. But then the Leafs will face that situation on Saturday in Montreal. So they'll get a taste of that medicine as well. But San Jose has struggled as well. They've played better since Marleau joined them a few weeks ago. They're a very talented team, a team that got to the conference final. It's going to be a tough task for the Leafs. They're going to have to play well. They're going to have to play consistent. And that's been a problem, I think, even before John Tavares got hurt.
Yeah, the Leafs losing to the Blue Jackets on Monday in overtime, then getting doubled up by the Bruins in Boston on Tuesday. Mike, what from that Boston game are you hoping the Leafs eradicate just in time for the Sharks this evening?
I think it could have been collectively the worst performance by Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner that I have seen since they've joined the club. And coincidentally, they were playing together. So, and I know that that's been something that a lot of Leaf fans and even Marner and Matthews have sort of lobbied for over the last few years. And I guess it proves Babcock right now. The thing is, they put them head to head against the Bergeron line, and that line can make anybody look bad. But there is a thought that there's only one puck and those two guys are puck dominant, and putting them together doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't think they have many choices right now. I know that they sort of are going back and forth playing Marner on defensive zone faceoffs and Nylander with Matthews on offensive zone faceoffs. I mean, right now, because Tavares is out, it's because it's caused a little bit of a change in the usual calm when it comes to Babcock and his line combinations. But I think as soon as Tavares gets back, that'll sort of be rectified. But there has been no consistency. One game they play really well, one game they don't play as well, and defensively, this team has been abysmal through the first month of the season.
This is the Leafs Convo podcast for Oak Ridge Ford. I don't get it. Why can't you just put talent with talent and let them go out and make magic?
Sometimes talent with talent, it depends on what type of talent and whether it's conducive. I mean, you see with Edmonton that McDavid and Draisaitl, it's hand in glove. It works. But sometimes, like, for example, John Tavares, maybe if he didn't have the talent in New York, he made the best with what he could. But his successful line mates were guys like P.A. Parenteau and Matt Molson.
Awesome.
Sidney Crosby won Stanley Cups with Chris Kunitz and Pascal Dupuis. So it's like there's no rhyme or reason to it. But right now, you have to say that it was underwhelming when Matthews and Marner have been put together on a regular shift. And I mean, it works on the power play because they're very creative, talented players, but it just really hasn't worked 5-on-5.
Yeah, the Leafs with back-to-back games, Monday, Tuesday, back-to-back games now, Friday, Saturday. Are they in any position to get into a rhythm here, Mike, and getting into a flow? Is that possible with the way the schedule is laid out, or is this just basically take it game by game, see what you can get, try to get as many points as possible, and then as the machine becomes more well-oiled, Tavares gets back, Hyman gets back, Dermott gets back, maybe we'll see this team running on all cylinders after the new year?
I mean, the funny thing is, it sounds like those players, Hyman and Dermott, are on the cusp of being back. And then what you have to worry about then is they haven't played since April, and how long is it going to take for them to not get back physically, but to get back in terms of speed and in terms of just the pace of the game. We saw how that was with Nylander last year, but I don't think Nylander was working out and rehabilitating as much as Hyman and Dermott have. You would hope that this team can get back into, as you said, the swing of things, or into I can't
A
remember what the
rhythm, a
term you
rhythm.
used. Right. It's very possible that they can get back into a rhythm, but right now, I mean, it just seems like there's something weighing on them. There's this he seems to be a level of discomfort. I don't know. They're struggling, and the funny thing is, and I've observed this before, it's not the players that they've brought in; it's the players that are still here.
Mm.
There's the core group that has not played up to expectations. So guys like Alex Kerfoot and Ilya Mikheyev have played really well. Tyson Barrie, I think, has had a little trouble settling in, but the newer guys and the depth guys are not having problems. It's Matthews, it's
Mm.
Marner, it's Nealon,
Well,
and I don't know if that's a symptom of them and the coach, or if
weird.
it's just the pressure of all of a sudden Matthews is making 11.6. All of a sudden, Marner is making almost 11. Maybe that's something
Wow.
they have to be comfortable with, because you have to, I mean, you have to feel the weight of the expectations of the fan base and be able to play through it. And maybe it's giving them a little problem right now.
OG's converts inside the community section or below this post on YouTube. Let us know if you sense a discomfort among the Maple brothers. I'd like to know how you feel about this, what your ideas are, your projections for this team going forward. Why does it have to be so complicated, Mike? Why can't these guys just go out and be good? It feels like there's some trouble here. There's a disconnect, and we all know where it's going to point. We all know where it's going to point. The guy behind the bench, and that's fine. But like, what the hell? They're talented guys. They're all making a lot of money. They play for the biggest team in the world. Go out and win some damn hockey games. Drop the puck. Go play. Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't put all the blame on Babcock, and it's this is his fifth year, and I know that at the end in Detroit, there was a tuning out of him by some of their players. He had alienated some players in the room. I don't think it's at that point right now. I just simply think the team is not playing well, and they haven't tuned him out. I just think they're just not. A, I don't think they're doing what he wants them to do. And B, I don't think, and I've said this from the very beginning since training camp started, this is a team that was put together that is not conducive to the style that Mike Babcock wants to play. He continually talks about heavy hockey. This is not a heavy hockey team. This is, guys like Dmytro Timashov, who's 5'10", okay, him playing heavy hockey isn't the same as somebody like, Josh Anderson on Columbus, or Tom Wilson, and the big guys on this team, Freddie Gauthier has a tough time knocking over a feather. So there really isn't some pushback on this team. And I think that's something that's missing. And I think that's something that Babcock wants, but that's not something he's really going to get from this roster.
I'm not a fan of the Boston Bruins, but I like the way they play the game. 39 shots on goal on Tuesday. They won 4-2. And never mind this idea that if you're out hitting a team, you're chasing that team. The Bruins slaughtered the Leafs in the physicality department. 32 hits to 16 hits. I mean, just go out and crunch your opponents and beat them on the scoreboard too, for goodness sakes.
And if you look at the Boston model, they play team defense. Everybody, even skill guys on third and fourth lines, they try to hit. They're tough on the puck. They rely on that. I mean, that Bergeron line scores like 65 to 70% of their points, but they get contributions from everybody in terms of energy, in terms of hitting. They don't have guys, and I'm not saying that there are players on the Leafs that are mailing it in, but I'm saying,
No.
they're skill guys, and they don't play that type of game. And I think that in proportion is really useful. But I think they also need players who can play with the way some Bruins players play. And that's, that really has to change for the Leafs to have success. Now, we're going to see some changes in this roster pretty soon because Dermott is coming back probably this weekend. Zach Hyman was interviewed yesterday, practiced with the team, but wasn't part of one of the lines. So it's probably going to be maybe a week or two more when that happens. Tavares is only a week into his broken finger. At the earliest, it'll be next week, but probably I would say a couple weeks. At that point, from every indication from Elliot Friedman, from the insiders on TSN, everybody, the roster, for them to fit those guys under the cap, they're going to have to send at least 4 players down to the Marlies or clear 4 players off that roster. That means a 21-man roster.
They're going to do what they have to do, Mike. I feel like the best is yet to come. On the Zach Hyman tip, Mike, I'm looking forward to seeing him back. I know he's going to bring a lot of energy. I know Mike Babcock loves the way he plays. He's coming off an unbelievably serious injury. I hope he doesn't get on the ice and start booting around like a damn lunatic and injure himself again.
Well, he mentioned that yesterday at practice. He was like, basically like there's a plan, there's a schedule of when he'll be back. He, as anxious as he is to get back on the ice, he respects the schedule. And I don't think they want him back until he can be 100%, because he's not going to be coming back and playing on the 4th line. He's going to get put on that line with Tavares and Marner. And they need him to be as close to the Zach Hyman that played last year and scored 20 goals as he can be, because he's important. You notice the difference that it made with that line when Kasperi Kapanen flailed about for 6 or 7 games playing with Tavares and Marner. It wasn't a good fit, and as soon as he was moved off to a different line, he started playing like Kapanen did last year. Hyman's the perfect fit on that line, and they need him back. But the thing I'm concerned about is he plays not a rough and tumble style, but he plays along the boards. He digs along the boards. That's his role, to get the puck and get it to the talented players. That's an area where you're taking a lot of contact. And he's coming off an ACL injury, so it may not be right away that he's up to speed, and that they have to be prepared for that.
OG's converts, do you sense a level of discomfort among the Maple brothers? If not, tell us. If so, elaborate. Michael, I don't do complicated. I don't do high maintenance. Why do I feel like this team is a little bit of both and even more? Last word to you.
I mean, right now through the first month, I would say that's accurate, and that's something that we have to be concerned about. I think we would more be, we would more like this team to just be workmanlike and methodical and just go out, like you said, and perform and win. Some teams are not like that. That's why you have a coach like Mike Babcock who has to drive them to do what they need to do. And hopefully they get straightened out and start getting some wins consistently.
Yeah, just keep her going, get what you can get right now. And like I said, I think at some point down the stretch, this team will find its legs, find its rhythm, find its purpose, and then they can do some damage. Until then, hold down the fort. Michael, talk to you soon.